That's exactly what it is. And I said that Drake does that in his music as well. So if Drake does that in his music, then obviously Rick Ross and Kendrick is basically showing him like, yo, bro, we know these things. And just to let you know, and people do that all the time. All right, man. Towards the after hours, you know what it is. So we're gonna check in with the Ville. Uh, Drake's suspicious activity has resurfaced, and this is a goodie, man. So y'all want to stick all the way to the end of the video. All right, man. Let's get it, man. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, go over to Torture Talk after hours. This is Torture Talk. Make sure you go to Torture Talk and subscribe over there. All right, so let's get it.
So there's this conversation that we had last night talking about Hidden Hills. We had talked about Hidden Hills last time because of DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad did an interview with Academics where he had talked about Drake and this YOLO estate. This YOLO estate was in the Hidden Hills where Drake used to live at when he stayed in California. Now this is close to Calabasas. This is when he had a conversation with Academics, and he had told Academics that he wouldn't be surprised if Drake covered up some type of suspicious activity that happened there because of all the parties that he threw there. Now, it turns out last night we had found some things out that's related to Hidden Hills. But just for a quick refresher, I'm going to play the clip right now of where DJ Vlad has said that there was some suspicious activity.
I will say though, you know what I was impressed by? With all this shit and say not like us and everything people talking about Drake, not one chick even erroneously filed a lawsuit or like I thought there was gonna be a few of those to take advantage of the moment. And
I think this is the thing that people are not listening to what Academics said. And this is how you know Academics actually believes some of these things. Listen to what he just said. He said, I thought that there were going to be a bunch of girls to come forward. So Academic knows that there's some nefarious things going on, because you would have said, I would have never thought that anybody would come forward because I know there ain't nothing go on. But when you say stuff like, I thought that somebody was going to come forward, then you already know that that right there lets you know that there's something going on.
There's been not one person that's accused Drake of anything.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if some shit starts coming out. Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house, and him and his homies were doing some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid. And
maybe they're just partying. Not like.
I heard some stories, you know, but and I'm not going to mention
them.
There
was getting it in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
Maybe he's paying them off. Like, yo,
I think Drake is just paying them off, and so I mean, listen, I mean.
So that got everybody's attention. That got everybody's ears ringing. They wanted to know, what did Vlad mean by that? Why is he saying that something happened at Hidden Hills? Or why is he saying that something could have happened at Hidden Hills to where Drake had to pay to cover it up? A very strange thing for Vlad to say out of nowhere. And it had people thinking, well, what happened? Now, like I said in the last video, when I had talked about this property was owned by somebody that has the LLC, Richard Fitzgerald. Now, the Richard Fitzgerald LLC is owned by Drake. We know that because of Ebony Prince, because Ebony Prince had revealed that Drake's alias at the Mark Hotel was Richard Fitzgerald. Now, remember, Ebony Prince was the person that obtained the items from Meet the Grams from Drake at this hotel and was able to expose his name as being Richard Fitzgerald, aka Did Fitzgerald. Because of that, we were able to find out that he had the Richard Fitzgerald LLC, and this is what he later on used to purchase the property over there in Calabasas, over there at Hidden Hills. Now,
that's crazy how Drake could use an alias to purchase something. Or maybe he puts that under his LLC, but I guess that's what it is. But Richard fits so well. Like, that's crazy how you would have a name and you buy a property through a name, made up name. Richard fits so well. Trust LLC, buyer trust LLC, seller LLC. Yeah, that's crazy.
Later on, eventually had sold it to Matthew Stafford for whatever reason. Matthew Stafford ended up trying to sell the property shortly after, not because he's leaving California. He's apparently still staying in California, but for whatever reason, he just doesn't want anything to do with this property. He's selling it for only $12 million. He had bought it for $11. So it just shows you that he really wants to get out of this property. It makes you feel like, what DJ Vlad was saying is that the reason why Matthew Stafford doesn't want to own this property because of the recent owner, Richard Fitzwell, aka Drake. And now we have Vlad out here saying that there was something going on over here at the Hidden Hills. There's something going on, and Matthew Stafford didn't want anything to do with it. So eventually he tried to sell the property later on. Now, what we found out eventually, because we started looking into Hidden Hills, we started trying to figure out, well, what exactly is going on over here? And one of the biggest clues that we had came across last night about Hidden Hills was Splash Brothers. Splash Brothers was an original song that had featured Drake and French Montana. Later on, the song had came out, but it didn't have Drake anymore. It only had Lil Wayne. So Splash Brothers, the original song, the first verse has Drake in it. And Drake talks about the Hidden Hills. Drake says, yeah, on Double MG, I'll F a rapper's wife. She ain't even my type, but I'll make the sacrifice. Have her splitting thighs like she work at Gladys Knights. Yeah, I was never nothing nice. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And this is the part that we were talking about. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. Bought the whole street up and I got it for a steal, which is funny for him to say because we know for sure when he had bought the property, this is when he had sold the
12 p.m.
Stafford for $11 million. This is the buyer, this is the seller. But
You know, the crazy thing is Drake always snitching in songs. He always telling. He is such a good insider when it comes to his people and how they move when it comes to their music. But yeah, Drake literally be telling on. He tell everything in songs, everything. Don't be surprised if this ever was to come back and they start using lyrics against people. Yeah, man. And I'm sure that they do that now, but he definitely would be one of the first ones that they go after because he be going crazy.
I hear Richard Fitzwell, which is Drake, he's the buyer, and he bought it for almost $3 million from Gopher Diego Aleo. So he actually did get it for a steal because then they ended up selling it for $11 million when he just bought it for 3 M's. This is proof that Drake not only had sold the compound for Matthew Stafford for $11 million, but in the song with French Montana, he admits that he bought the whole street up for a steal. I guess he did when he gets it for $3 million and sells it for 11. So we know that he's talking about Hidden Hills because of this, and we know he's talking about the Yellow Estate because of this. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. So what are the secrets exactly? I guess Drake didn't even want people to answer that question because this song got scrapped. Now, for sure, this song is out, but it only has Lil Wayne on it. Drake had stopped this song from being out so severely that he had to send a cease and desist. And this is why him and Rick Ross started beefing. This is the reason why Drake and Rick Ross started beefing really bad online, was because he had sent French Montana a cease and desist for this record. Rick Ross had talked about this song later on. Eventually, he had came out and had made this.
Oh, I released an episode on my other channel called The Hidden Secrets of Drake, the secrets of Drake and DJ Khaled and why the fallout of them two. And this is connected to that episode. I didn't even know that. This is connected. The Splash Brothers. Wow, this is crazy. Good journalism, DeVille. Very good.
Song where he had dissed Drake, and this was Champagne Moments. This was a song that had came out right before the beef had kicked off with Kendrick Lamar. But it's what Rick Ross says at the end right here is what catched a lot of people's attention. Right here, Rick Ross says, I unfollowed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police, hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same person that I seen when we were making them early records. Now Rick Ross is saying that he has sent the cease and desist to French Montana because of this record. We could confirm that because eventually it had been reported on the news. It says Drake did send French Montana a cease and desist. It says here that he eventually had sent it. And then this is when they had talked about Rick Ross, talking about how he didn't like that he did that to French Montana. But it doesn't end there, because when we watch the music video for this song, there's a part that Rick Ross says in the song that caught my attention with the music video. He says, told y'all guys to stay scheming. I predicted my fate. Got more money than you. If you want me to say 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay. And I think it's important when he says this, 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay, because in the music video, when he says that, this pops up right here.
50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay.
So he says 50 million for the crib where you want me to stay, implying that he's talking about a house. What are you talking about a house on the Hidden Hills? Because then Rick Ross has shared the shirt, the back of his shirt says Hidden Hills. So now I'm thinking, well, wow, does Rick Ross know what's going on with Hidden Hills? Does Rick Ross know what's going on with what DJ Vlad had talked about? And is he exposing it because Drake had sent a cease and desist to him in French Montana? I unfollowed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police and hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same guy that I seen when we were making early records together. Now, Rick Ross is upset because Drake had sent that cease and desist. But I'm thinking that Drake had sent that cease and desist because of the fact that he didn't want anybody to hear him talk about the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And out of spite, Rick Ross makes a diss record called Champagne Moments. And when he talks about a crib, he shows the back of his shirt in the music video that says Hidden Hills. The same thing that DJ.
Yo. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, I'm telling you, they know a whole lot of things that Drake's been doing, and people can't come out directly and say it, but they're dropping clues everywhere. Damn, you see this? That song came out months ago. I'm talking about almost a year ago. And now DeVille, DeVille is the shit, man. I love DeVille, man. Oh my God.
Vlad had talked about when he said that Drake could have paid to cover up some suspicious activity that happened at that party compound.
There's been not one person that's coming out.
Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house. And him and his homies were doing some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid. And
Well, I mean, it's partying. Not like.
I heard some stories, and I'm not going to mention
I
them.
heard it was getting it in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
Maybe he's paying them off. Like,
I think Drake is just paying them off, and so I mean, listen.
Which makes me feel like I talked about in the last video, why Matthew Stafford decided to get rid of the property. I feel like Matthew Stafford had found out that this was Drake's party compound. There was a lot of stuff that went down there when he used to live there. And it just made me feel like Matthew Stafford just tried to get rid of the property altogether because he didn't want nothing to do with it. Why else would he sell the property for only an extra $1.5 million off the top? He bought it for 11 and he's trying to get rid of it for 12. Doesn't seem very profitable if you ask me. But moving forward, I really do think that Rick Ross was trying to send a message to Drake when he had made this music video. I think that he knows what's going on in Hidden Hills because why else would he wear this shirt?
Absolutely, he knows. There's no way Rick Ross wouldn't put Hidden Hills on a shirt, the back of his shirt, knowing he knows what's going on. But again, he can't come outright and say it because then it'll be something different. But yeah, that's absolutely.
A diss track music video that he's sending out to Drake. This whole song is a diss record for Drake that he decided to make a music video for. I don't think that it's just a coincidence that he's wearing Hidden Hills. And in the same time as he's rapping the lyrics talking about a crib, he shows the shirt that says Hidden Hills where Drake used to own a crib at. Just feels like he's doing this on purpose to slight Drake. We have DJ Vlad, who's talked about Hidden Hills. We have Drake, who's talked about Hidden Hills in a scrapped verse. And then we have Kendrick Lamar, who seemingly is hinting towards 4 p.m. in Calabasas with 616 in LA. So we went back to 4 p.m. in Calabasas because this is basically Drake in Calabasas over there at the Hidden Hills. This is a song that he had created while he was staying there, or at least he was still living there at the time and owned the property, because this is back in June 2016. So we went back to 616 in LA and 4 p.m. in Calabasas, because 616 in LA is supposed to be imitation of 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto. It's supposed to imitate Drake when he took the time and location of places and named it after a title of a song. But what was funny, and real quick side note here, when we were doing this, 616 in LA was the name of the song, but 4 p.m. in Calabasas was actually released and created on June 2016, which is 616 in LA. Drake had released the song on 616.
That's crazy. Bruh. What? This is out of control. Yo, this is some next level Da Vinci type shit. This is crazy. So let me get this right. 616 in LA. Bruh. June 6th, 2016, 6:16, and the song was created in LA. Yo, this is mind blowing, bro. This is nuts. That's wild.
And he was in California, or at least owned a property in California at Hidden Hills at the time of this release. Even going as far as sharing the same messages on here, he says something like this. He says, I guess it's different in the city I come from. All of a sudden, I got people showing how much they truly resent me. The whole demeanor just spells envy. They trying to tempt me. Now, this is Drake talking about how people on his team are resenting him and they envy him and all of this, right? So going back to 616 in LA, like I said, it shares the same sentiments, same similarities, when Kendrick talks about how his entourage is only there to hustle you. 100 people you got on salary and 20 of them want you as a casualty. Now, I think that going back to this is showing us that Kendrick knows what's going on at Hidden Hills. Kendrick knows exactly what's going on. And the same similarities in the lyrics are showing you that, you know, going back to 616 in LA, the time matches the date of the song's release. Not only that, but it also has the similarities of when Drake is talking about people in his team resenting him. It also goes back to when Kendrick was saying that people want to see you as a casualty that you had on salary. The same similarities. Not only that, but Kendrick says, what would Mike do? And at the end, or at least not to the end or close to the end, Drake says something about Mike. He says, when they told me to take an R&B guy on the road and I told them no and drew for Kendrick and Rocky, I tried to make the right choices with the world watching. Mike never tried to rap like Pac, and Pac never tried to sing like Mike, which makes me think, is this the reason why Kendrick had brought this up at the end of the song when he said what Mike would do? It makes me feel like 616 in LA was also a reference to this right here. It looks like 616 in LA could have been a reference to 4 p.m. in Calabasas. And if that's the case, was Kendrick hinting towards the Hidden Hills? Was he hinting to Drake that he knows what's going on in the Hidden Hills? Because why would Kendrick make a song called
I just want to say this. For all y'all out there that said this is a reach or this, listen, this right here, you can't say this is a reach. You can't say this is too structured. It's too structured for it to be a reach. And it's not a coincidence. This is purposely done. This is purposely done because he wants to let Drake know. This is the reason why, probably the reason why a lot of rappers are helping Drake. And this is probably the reason why Drake knows that Kendrick knows something. He knows something. And this is the reason why he's not really saying too much no more. But this right here lets me know that this is not a coincidence. 6:16, and he did this song in LA. That lets me know that this isn't a coincidence. This right here is this is real. This is real. And yeah, there's a lot going on.
16 in LA, sharing the Kendrick hinting towards the Hidden Hills. Was he hinting to Drake that he knows what's going on in the Hidden Hills? Because why would Kendrick make a song called 616 in LA, sharing the same similarities in the lyrics of 4 p.m. in Calabasas? Not only that, but 616 in LA shares the date that 4 p.m. in Calabasas was dropped. And when this was dropped, Drake was living in LA, or Drake was living in Calabasas. Makes me feel as if this was a sign that Kendrick knew what was going on when Drake lived in California. This could have also been a way where Kendrick Lamar could have been hinting at Drake and his escapades over there at Hidden Hills. Just a slight thing that I had noticed when I was going over the lyrics yesterday. But that means that there could be a possible chance that Kendrick was referencing it. For sure, Rick Ross could have been referencing it. And for sure, DJ Vlad had already said what he said about Drake potentially covering things up at Hidden Hills. So you already have two for sure out of the three that have talked about Hidden Hills and have pointed out Hidden Hills. And it looks like there could be possibly, potentially, keep it alleged, something that could have happened at this compound when Drake had stayed there. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it is that DJ Vlad is referring to, but it shares the same similarities to what Rick Ross is talking about when he brings up Hidden Hills as well. What's crazy about all of this is that they bring up Hidden Hills at different times. DJ Vlad just did the interview with Academics a few days ago, this that came out last year in 2024. And I think a lot of people were just at the diss record because of the things that Rick Ross was saying. He was saying stuff about Drake, you know, about the surgery, about things like that. It really was something that the media ate up, but they didn't really understand the Hidden Hills message, because I think that this message was supposed to be something subliminal that only Drake would understand. I think this is why.
That's exactly what it is. And I said that Drake does that in his music as well. So if Drake does that in his music, then obviously Rick Ross and Kendrick is basically showing him like, yo, bro, we know these things. And just to let you know, and people do that all the time, guys who do that. We used to do that when we was younger, speaking codes. This is speaking in codes. And they want to let Drake know, like, bro, we know everything. We know what you did. And you know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. And I'm sure Drake's seen this, and he probably shitting in his pants right now. I'm telling you right now.
Rick Ross had made this music video this way. And it's interesting to know now that DJ Vlad is not the only person that's hinting towards Hidden Hills. Rick Ross could be hinting towards Hidden Hills as well. And it could possibly be Kendrick Lamar hinting towards it also. There was something definitely going on at this compound, because why all of a sudden all of these other individuals are talking about Hidden Hills as if something went down? And remember, this property was owned by Drake with the alias Richard Fitzenwell, meaning that this property was literally owned. This party compound was owned by a man named Richard Fitzenwell on legal paper, on legal documentation in black and white. A party compound owned by somebody named Richard Fitzenwell is diabolical. Could only imagine the type of parties that Richard Fitzenwell is throwing. We already know that's the alias he likes to go by in the hotel, in the Mark Hotel. And there was a whole other freaky situation going on there. But apparently Drake likes to be called Richard Fitzenwell when he's doing a dirty deed. I guess that's something that he likes to go by. I guess it's another alter ego. Anita Max Win, Richard Fitzenwell, Drake. I guess that's what it is. But I think all of this, Rick Ross, DJ Vlad, Kendrick Lamar, I think all of this were other clues that potentially exposed Drake's escapades at Hidden Hills. I was completely shocked when I had saw that Rick Ross had pointed out Hidden Hills a while back. I feel like he was doing all of this on purpose to send Drake a message, subliminally, of course, because only Drake would know what this shirt would mean when it comes out in the music video. As of right now, this Hidden Hills situation, I feel like is getting deeper. I feel like the rabbit hole is getting deeper. I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered. And right now, these are the things that we found out last night on live. I wanted to make a quick recap video for everybody to watch, you know, in a shorter frame of time, just to see everything that we've found so far. If you want to check out the live, go ahead and do so. What do you think, bro? Do you think that Rick Ross was trying to hint towards the Hidden Hills just like DJ Vlad was? Do you?
Shout out to the Ville, man. The Ville be putting people on, man. I love the Ville channel. Yeah, but this is what it is, man. This is what it is. Telling y'all now, man. It's about to get real deep, man. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But y'all gotta think, man. A lot of rappers talking subliminal codes to each other because they don't want to come right out and say certain things. When Kendrick said, "I know more. I know. The rabbit hole goes deep, and I know that make Gunna know things that make Gunna want to look like a saint." Like, yeah, trust me. If Rick Ross knows, I'm sure Kendrick knows. Everybody probably knows. So, all right, man, I'm out of here. Yeah, make sure y'all go subscribe to the channel and like the channel too. Thank y'all. See y'all. Peace. Bye.